guys, welcome back to my channel Garden on My Mind. I know it's been a very long time, almost like I think 4 to 5 months that I have posted any videos, but I had been so busy just with my plants. So you can say there are different levels of plant craziness. One is that you might end up only watering your plants all the time, but I think have moved to another level when I'm repotting my plants all the time. So I didn't have much time to post any videos. So today I thought I'll show you around. This is the first floor. So the plants I have kind of curated in this floor. So come with me. This is one of the landing of the stairs, where in one of the videos I had shown that I have these vining plants to create a kind of a curtain, and plus I have few hanging here. Few things have changed. For example, I'll take you through this. So this is that green philodendron, but it was pretty long in one of the videos I had shown, but I had to chop it off because it was getting very leggy. So I think this is a new shoot. I chopped it off from here and somewhere here, I think, so that it will give up new shoots. And what happens when the vining plants grows like too long, like once it is like more than 10 or 12 feet, it tries to put all the energy into the new leaves, and the older leaves in the older vines, the leaves just become yellow and they just die out. So it looks like a string, and then there are leaves down. I have some plants like that, but the way to keep it bushy is to chop them when they are becoming like that, or even propagate them. So this is the philodendron, that green one. So beside this philodendron, I have this micon. If you see, it's quite bushy at the top. It was getting very leggy at the bottom, so I chopped it off recently. And it is infested with some insects. Mealybugs surely are there, but there are some those thrips. So I'm treating it, but let's see. See, this is what I was talking about. So this is my Enjoy Potho. But if you see the vines at the top, sorry, it's all entangled. So all these leaves have just dried off and fell off, because the plant is putting all its energy in this, giving out new shoots. So at some point of time I'll chop it off so that I get new leaves from here, and this I can propagate it. But this is quite long. If you see, Enjoy Pothos, they say it is a little slow grower, but mine somehow they have been growing quite a bit. I mean, quite fast. This is another Enjoy Potho. This again I cut it recently. It was also very long, and it's quite bushy and nice at the top, if you see. And the new shoots are coming out very well. Actually, another thing what happens is, for vining plants, if it doesn't get light at the top, like on the top, it gets very bald. But in my case, specifically this one, if you see, it's not getting bald because it is getting the light. So it needs light source to push out new growth from the top. Sometimes what happens when we put it as an indoor plant, and if it doesn't get, suppose it's near the window or something, or at the top of some shelf, it doesn't get light at the top, so then it starts getting bald. But since I've kept it here, it's getting a bit of sunlight during the afternoon, and it looks bushy. This one is a Dischidia. I am forgetting the name, like the coin Dischidia or something like that they call it. It's a very old plant, and it has grown so long and very heavy. I have not lifted this plant, I would say, for a year or so. I have just fertilized it or added water only from the top, or even added the soil, because removing this whole heavy thing from up to down, because I have to take the vines also out, has been a big task. But I'll try to show you how long it is. So it's almost like this. Wow. Let me just get it here. It's a lot of work, see. It's so long. if you could understand from that video. I'll just put it back. Here I have again vining plants. This is the lemon philodendron, the vining philodendrons. This is the best part is it is very fast growing. It looks beautiful. It is heart shaped and the leaves are shiny. Again, the color of the leaf, if you want it very bright, very yellowish, then you need to put it in a bright spot. Otherwise, it gets a little greener because since it wants to make create food for itself through photosynthesis, it will try to turn green. So if you see this side, it's very yellow because it's facing the light, but the other side, the color is getting little darker. Here I have this pothos. This is neon pothos. Again, you can say the same category as philodendron, but these are very slow growing. And what I have observed is when these wind down, the leaves get smaller and smaller. But for these philodendrons, the leaf size kind of remains quite big. So that's why I love these so much. It continues to give big leaves, unlike this one, and it's very slow growing. This side I have green philodendron. It's grown really long. As I was saying, that though it grows longer, it will still try to retain the size of the leaf. But in this case, what is happening is, since it is growing too long, it is losing all the leaves in the upper nodes. So that is what it happens. If it is not getting, adequate fertilizer, it will push all that energy in the new leaves and by shedding the old leaves. So here I think I'll just cut it and propagate it so that it becomes bushier at the top. It will take time, but this is what I'll do. And here at the bottom I have these rubber plants. This is the variegated one. I forgot the name, unfortunately, but it is very slow grower. This is the more commonly found Ficus Elastica Burgundy. I made a cut here while I was doing the propagation video, if you remember, but it has branched out here, but it has been very slow growing. So the one that I cut, it has rooted, so I need to put it in a pot. It is still in the propagation jar. So let's see how long it takes to really become big. This is another Ficus Elastica. I'm forgetting the name, but it's quite beautiful. Each leaf is different. If you see here, it's dark here and mottled here. The variegation is almost like half moon. This is fully variegated. So it is giving like different, every leaf is different. This one also I did the propagation 4 months back and I did a video. So this has also rooted and this has branched out, but as I said that these both have been very slow growing. So this side, I had put this plank. I think I had shown you the video. And what I have done is I have put all the Philodendron Brazils here. So there is 1, 2, 3 and there is a 4th one. And it is kind of creating, the whole idea was to create a green curtain. So I think now I have achieved that. The best part of this Brazil is that every leaf is different. The variegation is so beautiful. If you see this one, this is a huge leaf. See this one, it has more light green than the dark green. Then this one is more, see how beautiful this is more green. So every leaf is very different in Brazil. And the best part is these stems are very strong meaning very thick. So that's why it's shooting like good big leaves. Even this one, look at the stem, it's quite thick, and the variegation you can see in the stem also. That is how the plant kind of gives you an indication how whether the plant would give you the variegation or not. This is Monstera variety. If you see the leaves, it's huge and it has a lot of this fenestrations. Even the smaller fenestrations are there. I'm not sure what the name is, but I think it might be a species called Laniata, which is again I mean, you cannot find it everywhere because I don't know, there's not much demand maybe for it, but it throws very huge leaves. So I chopped the older leaf which was big. Now the new leaves are coming, but they are coming smaller, but it will take time for them to get bigger. They need to, this stem needs to get matured. I think it is called Laniata. Here, this is my huge Monstera. It wasn't as tall before. It's been, I think, yeah, 1 year that it is with me. It was like half the size, and it has given me so many new leaves in the last 1 year. Even now I have a new leaf here at the back side, and it is climbing up a big pole. So till the time it is covering the pole, I should be good for another 6 to 8 months. But then maybe I need to chop it off. I have done a lot of propagations from this Monstera, and I have shown this Monstera in many of my videos. So and many of you ask me that how do I care for it. I don't think so I do anything extra. The only thing is, since the roots are attached to the pole, I make sure that I water the pole very nicely every, like I would say, twice a week, and I also fertilize the pole because the roots are attached to the pole, so it is getting the nutrients from the pole. So those are the few things that I do, and I also mist it once in a while because the leaves are big, and because it is winter right now, there is the humidity is very less, so it's very dry, so the leaves also get very dry. So once in a while misting is a good idea, and even wiping off the leaves. So at the top I have this variegated Peperomia. It has grown really nice, if you see, and it is one of the most neglected plants. Peperomia are very easy to care for, and it gets very heavy, so even these stems which are growing here have made the plant very heavy. So I have put it in a clay pot so that it can withstand the weight for a few months more. Then I might just chop and propagate it. Here I have this, I'll show you one. This is a Scindapsus, again a vining plant. This is called Scindapsus exotica, which is a fairly common one. But I can tell you that even like few months before, like 6 months before, these plants were not available in Bangalore at all. But now I can see in a lot of nurseries that these Scindapsus are available, even like the other varieties as well. This also is a very fast growing if you fertilize it regularly, but the leaves get smaller once it starts, vining, so you might just want to cut it or stake it up also. Then it will retain this size of the leaf. This is also an Exotica, which did I cut it? I might have cut it recently. This is a Begonia. I'm very notorious in growing begonias. They always die out on me. But this is one of them which has survived for about 6 to 8 months. So let's see how it kind of how much it grows. So some of the older leaves fell off, but there is new growth if you see these smaller ones. This side these new growth are coming. So I'm guessing this plant will stay with me for some time. But the leaves are, very beautiful. So this is the Rhaphidophora Tetrasperma, and this is fairly new plant. I have not been able to keep somehow Tetraspermas alive for some reason. I know it's a very easy plant and fast growing, but let's see how this one grows. This is also a Peperomia. I don't remember the name offhand. I'll put it up in the screen. This needs bright light. It doesn't need too much of water. Like, it should dry out completely before you water it. It can die out of root rot, and the leaves can become very soft, so we need to be very careful. It can survive drought conditions, and if you look at the leaves, it's like these bumpy leaves, and it looks very beautiful on a tabletop or something like that. Here I have two ferns. This is called a star fern. It is easier to grow than the other ferns, I would say, but it needs some amount of humidity. So I have a small humidifier which I switch on for an hour or two every day. And this is also another fern. I can put up the name on the screen. This also I've heard is easy to grow. Otherwise ferns are quite finicky about the humidity and the watering levels. So these are the two, this thing I have. It needs bright light, that's why it is facing, this is a north facing window, but it gets light throughout the day. So that is why I have placed these two here. This is a Philodendron Mexicanum. It is shaped like this, like a V shape with 2 ears, and the underleaves are generally maroon in color. This is a huge Mexicana. I have put it up a stake and it's kind of spreading all across. This is a new leaf. It has just given me last week and there is a new leaf shooting out here. So this is a, as we know philodendrons are, they are like very fast growing, and this is a good, you know, kind of, if you have a big space, the plant actually grows very big. So you can put it in one corner and it looks really nice. Here near the window, I have this vining plant. This is actually a Syngonium. It might not look as the common or very widely available Syngoniums, but this is a Syngonium. It's called Chiapense, and you might see them in the market like 1 or 2 leaves or maybe smaller leaves. But when I saw this in somebody's house who was selling the plant, I just took it because it's like huge. The leaves are very big. It's easy to maintain, and it was winding like up, so I put one of the like the stem downwards so that, you know, so that it sticks to the moss pole and this side becomes much more bushier. For this one as well, I watered the moss pole because the roots are attached to the moss pole, so that it gets its water requirements and nutrients from the pole. This is a beautiful Philodendron Tortum. I bought this plant, I think, less than a year back, and it had about, I think, 3 leaves. It was a cutting actually, so I repotted in soil, and it's in the same soil, but every new leaf which it has given me has been larger than the other. So this one was one of the big leaves and this one was the latest one, and see the size. And this is again shooting up a new leaf. I'm hoping it would be as big as this one or even bigger. These nowadays you can find it in the market, at least in like Facebook Marketplace, etc. It is a collector's plant. It might not be available in the local nurseries, but people who are selling online, they might have this. But whatever I have seen is till now is that these plants are very small when they, you know, kind of sell it. But I was lucky to get a good healthy plant, and it is really huge. This is an ivy, but I've kept it indoors and near the you know, the light source, which is the window. You can say this is normally an outdoor plant, but I kept it indoors. This is a variegated ivy. Difference here is this, in this case the stem is pink and the variegation of yellow is inside, not outside. So that is the difference. This, you don't see it like very often. It's not very commonly found, but when I saw it, I bought it. The interesting part is the stem and its shiny leaves. It's very fast growing, easy to grow. It needs a lot of light to maintain the growth. So this is my plant shelf. This was originally you know, made to keep books, but it has, you know, transformed itself into a plant shelf. So here basically I have plants which are easy to care for because it is inside and most of the time the door is closed. So these are the plants which don't need a lot of, you know, high humidity, so that way it works. So I'll start with this. This is a Philodendron silver sword, or Hastanum, Hastanum that you call it. This has very nice like grey colored leaf, and it is easy to grow and similar to other philodendrons. If it gets you know, kind of medium to bright light, it does very well. Weekly or fortnightly slight like diluted fertilizing with liquid fertilizer really helps. and I actually bought this pot from this guy whose Insta handle is Plantastic Sunny, and it has actually matched very well with the plant. This is a face planter made of concrete, and this goes really very well. It is blending very nicely. So let's start here. It's called Erubescens, and it is actually lime in color, but it should get a lot of light. It is actually a little far away from the window, so it's not getting so much of light now. This is a new leaf which is coming out. This is again, it's a vining plant and it's easy to grow. This is a Monstera Peru. I think in one of my, the Monstera video, I had shown this Peru. This is, again, it's easy to grow. It has these bumpy leaves, and if you see here, I have this 1, 2, 3, 4 vines actually, and new growth is coming out. It looks very nice. When the leaves mature, they become dark green like this, and when they are coming out, it's little lighter green. You have to give them like enough light. Bright indirect light is fine. So in the morning, this place gets some amount of direct light as well from the eastern side. So I think it should grow well. Beside the Peru, I have this. This is called variegated burl marks. So burle marks, the normal one, the green one, you can see everywhere. It's very easy to find in any nursery. But this is a variegated one. The only difference is the variegated ones don't turn out to be too big in terms of the leaf size. It might turn out when it is very mature and it is big, but when it's small, the leaf sizes are very small. But it is very easy to grow, unlike other variegated plants. I have pink princess here. It's not doing too well. I have to put it in bright light. I'll just keep it near the window for a few days. The variegation is gone, so these are new leaves, but there is no pink color in this. This one came out very well. There was one leaf which was completely pink, but then after that it has reverted. This is a Florida ghost. So Florida ghost, if you put them in bright light, they give this nice light yellow color. And this is not a very mature plant. It is, I would say, juvenile, but see how the leaves mature, right? This is a very juvenile leaf. It doesn't have much cuts and all that, but this one that came out, and in between we had to take out few of the leaves because it was drying off. But if you see this leaf, right, it has it has split itself, so it is maturing now. And once this Florida ghost matures, the stem becomes red, and these have these small if you see closer, spiky things on the stem, on the petiole basically. So those are, very soft, and this actually shows the maturity of a Florida ghost. But I'm glad that this new leaf is actually maturing now, because it has split up. It is getting nice cuts, and the color is also very good. And there's, if you see, this is a new leaf which will come out in another month or so. This is another variegated burl marks, and this is much more bushier than the other one that I showed, and this is from a different seller, and it has I'll just take it out. It has grown quite profusely. When I bought I think 6 months back, it had few leaves, but now if you see, it has a lot of leaves and it looks very nice and bushy. There is this new leaf which is completely yellow, and every leaf is different. I would say this is one of the variegated plants which is very easy to maintain, the variegation, and it doesn't need a lot of humidity. It does well with low humidity as well. This is a Manjula Potho. The best part of this is it has a lot of white. So again, to maintain the white, we need to put it in a very bright spot. This is this is a variegated Monstera, which is Albo, So the mother plant that I have, it was not doing too well, so I chopped it off and put the cutting under in leca. If you see, this is completely in leca. And how leca works is that you have to put some water. I have to actually fill in water. It has finished now, and the leca itself gets soaked up in the water, and the roots take the water as and when it needs. So this is a good way of propagating plants. It threw a new leaf recently, but it came out smaller because this was only one cutting, and this was completely half moon. You can say it was completely white, so you see the brown edges here. We'll see how that grows, and then maybe we can repot it in some time. Here again I have another cutting. So I cut the plant into two. It gave this was a new leaf which it gave recently, but this is drying off. Okay, the water is not there, so I need to fill the water. See how nicely the roots are growing. So water evaporated, I forgot to fill it. So this will also, I think, dry off because it is getting yellowish. We'll see how that goes. This side I have all these philodendrons, so nothing much to show because I have already shown my others. This is Brazil, this is Brazil, this is the lime one. This is another Manjula Potho. Again, very nice variegation if you see. It started off with white here, but the new ones are turning yellow. Maybe it needs more light. It's a very nice, it's growing profusely. It has 3 to 4 vines and it's growing nicely. This is a philodendron, but I don't know the name. I bought it because I liked it, but it grows very bushy. So I had to immediately repot it after getting it from, I think I repotted it twice in 4 months because it's like branching out so much. It's a very fast growing philodendron. This is another variety of Scindapsus. It is called, I think, not the silver lady, maybe the silver lady. The variegation is different. It has more this lighter shade than the darker one, like the Exotica, and the leaves are smaller. So here the leaf size is small, but I'll keep the actual name in the screen. You can look it up. But I think it is the silver lady, or whatever it is. I'll put up the name, the correct name. This is a Syngonium, the chocolate or brown Syngonium that we call it. I need to clean the leaves. It again does very well in bright light and it thrives on neglect. This is an Exotica, Scindapsus Exotica. This is an interesting plant. This is called an Epipremnum silver or something like that. So if you look at the leaves, they have these silver streaks. So I bought this plant last year, I think sometime around the lockdown, from Kerala. It was a very small plant with 3-4 leaves, but now if you look at the leaves, the newer leaf is larger than the other one, and this is a new one which is coming out. Epi something silver. I'll just put up the name there. So I would need to put up in a stake because this is vining, though the internodes are much smaller, very close to each other, but some kind of support will help it grow straight like this. This is again Scindapsus. It's long and viney. It has grown very nicely. This is called as Arigras or something, and as the name that you can see here on the screen. It is actually very difficult. What I found is to identify the different kind of Scindapsus because the variegation is almost so similar to each other. But this is slightly different. It has a slight shine. I don't think so we can show it in the camera. It's getting very leggy, so I might propagate it. These two are again the Exotica. This one has huge leaves. It's growing very well. Sometimes I forget to even water it, but it does well, as I said. See the size of the leaves, this one, and see how nicely it is coming out, the vines. This is another one. This has much more bigger leaf than the other one, and this has much more huge leaves. It has still not started winding down. I think this is one of the vines which is coming out, but it looks very beautiful. It does so good on neglect, like it's very hardy, and it just does its own thing. You don't have to worry about it. This is another variety of Scindapsus, but it is not same as this one. If you compare, this is slightly different. Apparently this whole, the mature leaves will have this whole thing silver. I'll just put up the name, I forget every time. So this is a different, it has a nice sheen in that in the leaves, if you see. I don't know whether it is coming in the camera. This is an interesting plant. It is called the sleeping pothos because the leaves are closed. I don't know what is the, the genetic construct of this plant, but it is very slow growing and is very hardy. Here one of the leaves is opening up, but generally they are like this. They are always like this, closed. It has recently winding up. Otherwise it was like, it didn't grow for a very long time after I got it. Here on the top I have this two mycons here, this one and this one. This is also getting very leggy. I have already made a cut here recently and propagated it. This one has grown actually recently. If you see, these are new leaves, velvety leaves. The new ones look very different. It starts with like light brown and then it gets darker as they mature. This is also a new vine, new leaf. So these are the plants that I have on my shelf, and there are two more here on the other side, like bigger plants which are on the floor. This side of the window I kept this plant because it's big. This is a Philodendron, I think painted lady. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks to me like a painted lady. Why it confuses me is that because nowadays when people sell painted lady online, it's a very small plant, though the color looks the same, like this orangish, yellowish and sometimes greenish. But since this plant is huge, so I don't know whether it's a painted lady or something else, but it's been growing well. It is still in the nursery pot, and the new leaves, they turn out like this, completely like reddish orange or something, like not orange I would say, but light reddish. But as they mature they turn green, and they reach to a stage in between where they turn like this orange and then light green, and as they mature it becomes dark green. Because it has been growing profusely and it is still in the nursery pot, I didn't, at that point of time, it was just falling that side, so I put this pipe because I just had a pipe at that time. So it has been growing pretty well. Behind this, I don't know whether you can see it. I'll just pull it closer so that I can explain. So this is a Ficus Umbellata, and when I bought it, it was maybe at this size, lot of leaves, but as it matured and it grew taller, there were only few leaves at the top and leaves were not doing too well, so I just chopped it off. And to my surprise, see, there are new shoots. So wherever the nodes were, they have started branching out just recently, like it's been just a week or so, and now it is, now when it grows, now it will look very nice. So if you see, there are three branches, one here, and there is a double branch here, so it will branch out like this. And now, and the leaf size is really big, so I think almost like this size. And now once it starts branching out, it will become more bushy and more tree-like. The best thing about this Umbellata is that its ease of maintenance. You do nothing to it, it will do its own thing, it will grow bigger. And yeah, the leaves are very nice, it's very soft, and the color is, I would say, not very dark green, it's on the lighter side. So that was my plant tour for today. Hope you enjoyed it. but I wanted to show you that where I'm spending all my time these days. So come to this secret room. So these are all my new plants. So these all belong to the Anthurium family, and these are very difficult to maintain because it needs high humidity. There are the soil mix has to be a certain kind, etc., etc. So these were all outside, but I brought them inside because I need that humidifier, because since it's winter, the climate is very, very dry. The humidity levels is almost like it drops to 25% sometimes. So I'm just, kept it inside like an ICU. But I'll take you through these plants in my next video. I also have an Insta handle where I'm more frequent. It's called Plantaholic Journey. I'll leave a link here and you can follow me for regular updates on my plant, like what I'm buying, how I'm maintaining it, etc. So till next time, happy gardening. Bye.